Commander Sam Rogers stared out at the vast expanse of stars beyond the viewport. Earth had finally achieved what many thought impossible, faster than light travel. After decades of research and countless failures, humanity had earned its place among the stars and an invitation to the Galactic Consortium. Yet that invitation came with a price: mockery. Another communication from the Zoraxian delegation. "Sir," Lieutenant Maria Wilson said, her voice tight with controlled frustration. "They're requesting another demonstration of our quaint propulsion system for their engineering students." Sam sighed. "Denied. Tell them we're busy with calibrations." This had become routine in the 3 months since Earth joined the consortium. The older species treated humans like curious children who had stumbled onto the galactic stage by accident rather than through genuine innovation. The Velderi ambassador called our warp drive charmingly primitive, Maria added. He compared it to discovering fire. Sam's jaw tightened. They all laughed when we first arrived at the consortium headquarters. I remember. The memory still burned. Earth's first official diplomatic vessel, the UES Trailblazer, had arrived at the massive space station, serving as the consortium's headquarters. Representatives from 17 species had gathered to welcome Earth. Their translator devices barely contained their amusement as they examined the ship's specifications. "Chief Scientist Ellis just sent up a report," Maria said, handing over a tablet. "Says it's urgent." Sam scanned the report, his eyes widening. Dr. Olivia Ellis had been leading a classified research project for years. While the public celebrated the warp drive, a select few knew about the dimensional research happening beneath Wyoming's mountains. "Get me a secure line to Dr. Ellis," Sam ordered, retreating to his private office. Moments later, Olivia's face appeared on screen. Dark circles under her eyes suggested she hadn't slept in days, but her expression radiated excitement. "We've confirmed it, Sam," she said without preamble. "The 7th-dimensional barrier can be breached. Our models were correct." Sam leaned forward. "You're certain?" "The math checks out. We've successfully sent probes into the space between dimensions and retrieved them. The energy readings are—" She paused, searching for words. "Unprecedented doesn't begin to describe it. The consortium species only acknowledge 5 dimensions," Sam said. "They claim the 6th is merely theoretical." Olivia smiled. "That's because they've been looking at the universe wrong for thousands of years. Their mathematics developed differently. They never found the pathway we discovered." "Does this mean Project Threshold is moving forward?" "We're already constructing the prototype vessel. The President has authorized full resources." She lowered her voice. "Sam, what we found, it changes everything. The power contained in the 7th dimension could revolutionize not just space travel, but energy production, weapons technology, even our understanding of reality itself." Sam felt a chill run down his spine. "How long until the vessel is operational?" 6 months, maybe less. We're calling it the Vanguard." Later that evening, Sam watched a gathering of alien diplomats from across the observation deck. They laughed and gestured toward Earth's modest fleet of ships. A tall, blue-skinned Zoraxian was apparently telling a joke about human technology, judging by the eruption of laughter. "Laugh while you can," Sam whispered to himself. His secure comm device vibrated. A message from the President. "Projectigator ESHOLD HCCLRATE. Prepare Kuribu's election." Sam smiled as he watched the aliens continue their mockery. Soon, very soon, no one in the galaxy would be laughing at humanity. Dr. Olivia Ellis watched through protective goggles as energy crackled around the small prototype in the test chamber. The lab beneath Wyoming's mountains hummed with power as computers collected data from the experiment. 7th-dimensional contact in 3, 2, 1, called out Ryan Peters, her assistant. A flash of light erupted from the device, not blinding white, but somehow both colorless and multicolored at once. The sensors screened with readings that stretched beyond their designed limits. "We did it," Olivia whispered. The team had achieved what 17 alien species had declared impossible. They had proven that the universe contained more dimensions than the 5 that the Galactic Consortium acknowledged, and they had found a way to tap into the 7th. Power levels are off the charts, Ryan said, his voice shaking with excitement. This confirms everything. The 7th dimension contains energy concentrations that make our nuclear reactions look like matches next to the sun. Olivia immediately called Commander Rogers. When his face appeared on screen, she couldn't contain her smile. The breakthrough is confirmed. We're moving to full-scale prototype construction immediately. 3 weeks later, a delegation of consortium scientists arrived at Earth's orbital station. Their visit was supposedly a goodwill mission to share technological insights, but Commander Rogers knew better. They suspect something, he told Olivia during a secure meeting. Their questions keep circling around our energy research. How could they know? Olivia asked. I don't think they do, not specifically, but their sensors detected unusual energy spikes in the Wyoming region. They're curious. The lead alien scientist, a tall Veldari named Zintok, requested a meeting with Earth's top physicists. We find your species' approach to dimensional physics interesting, he said, mandibles clicking between words. Perhaps misguided, but refreshingly novel. Olivia maintained a pleasant smile. We're still learning. Indeed, our records show your people are conducting experiments in what you call 6th-dimensional theory. We abandoned such pursuits millennia ago. A scientific dead end. We enjoy exploring all possibilities, Olivia replied carefully. Zintok leaned closer. We strongly advise focusing your limited resources elsewhere. Some dimensionality boundaries exist for good reason. The universe has natural laws that even we do not challenge. The warning was clear. After the delegation departed, construction of the Vanguard accelerated. The vessel took shape in a hidden facility on the far side of the moon, away from prying eyes. The ship looked unlike any human craft before it. Its hull contained special alloys designed to withstand the stresses of dimensional transition. At its core sat the revolutionary drive, the product of Olivia's research. It's beautiful, said Captain Jane Mercer, the officer chosen to command the Vanguard when completed. Will it really do what the simulations suggest? Olivia nodded. If our calculations are correct, the Vanguard will be able to slip between dimensions. It won't just travel through space. It will move outside normal spacetime altogether. The aliens clearly don't want us pursuing this technology, Jane said. What are they afraid of? I think they're afraid of what we might become, Sam Rogers answered, joining them on the observation platform. For thousands of years, they'd been the advanced ones. They shared technology with us, but always kept the truly revolutionary advances to themselves. Olivia watched as workers installed the dimensional core into the ship. The consortium species have been looking at the universe from their perspective for so long, they've developed blind spots. They never discovered what we found because their mathematical framework couldn't conceive of it. How long until the Vanguard is ready? Jane asked. 2 months for completion. Another month for testing, Olivia replied. Then we show the galaxy what humans can really do. Sam's communicator beeped with an urgent message. His face darkened as he read it. That timeline just got shorter, he said. We've received reports of unusual fleet movements at the edge of our solar system. Several of the more aggressive consortium species appear to be gathering forces. They know, Olivia whispered. The emergency alarms woke Captain Jane Mercer from a brief sleep. She grabbed her uniform and rushed to the command center of the lunar facility. Commander Rogers was already there, face grim, as he studied the tactical display. What's happening? Jane asked. The Zoraxian and Veldari fleets have formed a coalition with 3 other species. They've moved past Neptune's orbit and are heading inward, Sam explained. They're not responding to hails. Dr. Ellis arrived moments later, her lab coat thrown hastily over her clothes. This can't be a coincidence. They must have detected our dimensional experiments. How many ships? Jane asked. 87, including what intelligence identifies as 14 Dreadnought-class vessels. Earth's defense fleet consists of 30 ships, none larger than cruiser class. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. The Vanguard isn't ready, Olivia said finally. We need at least 3 more weeks for proper testing. Sam pointed to the tactical display. We have days, not weeks. The Coalition will reach Earth in roughly 72 hours. A secure communication arrived from Earth's president. Diplomatic channels FFAILT. Coalition demands immediate surrender of all dimensional research and technology, preparing for possible planetary defense scenario. We need to accelerate the timeline, Jane decided. I'll need a crew. 2 names were quickly approved. Lieutenant Greg Harrison, the most talented navigator in Earth's Space Force, and engineer Patricia Lopez, who had worked closely with Dr. Ellis on the dimensional drive mechanics. While Earth's conventional fleet prepared defensive positions near Mars, the Vanguard underwent rushed final preparations. The prototype ship gleamed under the harsh lights of the lunar hangar, its unusual design marking it as unlike anything humanity had created before. The dimensional drive hasn't been tested at full capacity, Patricia warned as she ran diagnostics. We've only engaged the system at 20% power in simulations. What happens if we push it to full power? Greg asked, examining the navigation systems. Patricia shrugged. Theoretically, we break through the barrier between dimensions and gain access to energy levels that defy conventional physics, or we create a catastrophic dimensional rift that destroys the ship and possibly a significant portion of nearby space. Great odds, Greg muttered. Jane spent hours studying the ship's capabilities with Olivia. The scientist explained the theory as simply as she could. The known universe exists primarily in 3 spatial dimensions plus time. The consortium species discovered the 5th dimension centuries ago. That's what enabled their faster-than-light travel. They theorized about a 6th, but never successfully accessed it. And we've gone beyond that to the 7th, Jane said. Olivia nodded. The 7th dimension exists perpendicular to all others. It contains energy patterns that make nuclear reactions look like matches beside the sun. If we can successfully tap into it, the Vanguard will have power beyond anything the consortium has ever witnessed. And weapons capabilities. The ship itself becomes the weapon. You'll be able to manipulate space-time around you. On the final day before launch, a message arrived from the approaching fleet. The translation was blunt. Surrender all dimensional research and dismantle your prototype vessel, or face extinction. Humanity has stumbled upon forces beyond your comprehension. Sam read the message to the crew as they prepared to board the Vanguard. They're scared, Patricia observed. They wouldn't make threats like this otherwise. Jane nodded as she examined her ship one last time. The Vanguard wasn't imposing by alien standards, roughly the size of a destroyer, with its unusual hull configuration designed for dimensional transition rather than intimidation. Final checks complete, Greg reported. Navigation systems online. Dimensional drive at standby, Patricia added. Ready as it'll ever be. Jane took a deep breath and addressed her small crew. Earth is counting on us. Let's show the galaxy what humans can do when pushed into a corner. The Vanguard's engines hummed to life as the lunar hangar doors opened to the star-filled darkness beyond. Earth's conventional defense fleet held position near Mars, vastly outnumbered as the Coalition armada approached. The massive alien vessels dwarfed humanity's ships, their weapons systems glowing with charged energy. All channels are broadcasting the same message, reported the communications officer on Earth's flagship. Surrender or be destroyed. Meanwhile, the Vanguard accelerated away from the moon, taking a wide trajectory to avoid immediate detection. Coalition fleet will intercept Earth's defenders in 20 minutes, Greg announced from the navigation console. Jane nodded. Status of the dimensional drive. Operating at minimal power, Patricia replied, her hands dancing across the engineering controls. All systems nominal. but I'm detecting some unusual energy fluctuations in the core. Expected? Not exactly. The seventh-dimensional barrier seems thinner than our simulations predicted. It's almost like... Patricia paused, studying her readings. It's like something on the other side is responding to our approach. Jane felt a chill despite the warmth of the bridge. Keep monitoring. We need to get closer to the alien fleet before we activate the main drive. The Vanguard curved around the dark side of Mars, its stealth systems engaged. The first shots had been fired between Earth's defenders and the Coalition forces. Bright flashes illuminated space as energy weapons struck shields. Earth vessels are holding their own, but they're taking heavy damage. Greg reported grimly. 2 destroyers already disabled. Jane made her decision. Take us in. Full conventional thrust toward the center of the alien formation. The Vanguard surged forward, finally triggering alerts on the alien sensors. Several smaller enemy vessels broke formation to intercept. They've spotted us, Greg confirmed. 5 pursuit craft on an intercept course. Open a channel, Jane ordered. All frequencies. When the connection was established, Jane spoke clearly. This is Captain Jane Mercer of the Earth vessel Vanguard. We request immediate cessation of hostilities. The response came quickly, transmitted from the largest coalition dreadnought. A Zoraxian commander appeared on screen, mandibles clicking in what humans had learned was amusement. The primitive species sends its secret weapon, the alien said, translator converting its clicks and whistles. A single small vessel. Your desperation is entertaining. We have technology you haven't encountered, Jane warned. We don't wish to use it aggressively. The Zoraxian's compound eyes gleamed. Our sensors detect unusual energy readings from your ship, but nothing that poses a threat to our fleet. Your species discovered a scientific curiosity, not a weapon. Stand down and surrender your research. Final warning, Jane said firmly. Withdraw your forces. The alien commander actually laughed, a harsh, clicking sound. Your species' overconfidence will be a fascinating footnote in galactic history. The communication ended. Seconds later, the pursuing vessels fired their weapons. Energy blasts streaked toward the Vanguard. Shield holding, Patricia reported as the ship shuddered. But they won't withstand concentrated fire from the larger vessels. Jane took a deep breath. Initiate dimensional drive. 50% power. Patricia nodded and activated the sequence. The ship hummed as the drive core began to glow with an impossible light. Neither bright nor dark, but somehow both and neither simultaneously. 7th-Dimensional barrier approaching, Patricia announced, her voice tight. Contact in 3, 2, 1. Reality seemed to flex around them. The view screen showed space itself folding and unfolding in patterns that hurt the eyes to follow. The pursuing alien vessels suddenly appeared to slow, as if moving through thick liquid. What's happening? Jane asked, gripping her chair as the ship vibrated. We're partially phased between dimensions, Patricia explained, her face illuminated by the strange light from her console. Time flows differently here. The aliens appear slowed from our perspective. A message flashed across the main communication screen. The Zoraxian commander again, but now his mandibles were still. No clicking in amusement. What is this technology? He demanded. Our sensors cannot properly track your vessel. Jane smiled slightly. This is just the beginning. Final warning. Withdraw your fleet. Never, the alien hissed. All vessels, concentrate fire on the human ship. Jane nodded to Patricia. Take us to full power. Patricia's hands trembled slightly as she pushed the dimensional drive controls forward. Full power engage. The Vanguard shuddered as reality itself seemed to tear around it. The hull glowed with energy that shifted between colors no human had names for. Space bent around the vessel as it slipped between the conventional dimensions and into the 7th. Status? Jane asked, her voice steady despite the overwhelming sensations washing over the bridge. The air itself seemed charged with electricity. Greg's eyes were wide as he stared at his navigation console. Captain, we're everywhere and nowhere at once. I can see the entire battle unfold from multiple points in space simultaneously. The view screen showed impossible images, the coalition fleet from above, below, inside, and outside all at once. Time appeared to flow in multiple directions around the alien ships. Weapons targeting us, but Patricia paused, checking readings that fluctuated wildly. The energy blasts are passing through where we were, where we are, and where we will be, all without making contact. The Vanguard's hull continued to transform. What had been solid metal now rippled like liquid while maintaining its structure. Patterns of energy flowed across the surface, occasionally extending outward in tendrils that bent light around them. We're not just accessing the seventh dimension, Patricia said in awe. We're channeling it. The ship is adapting, becoming a conduit. Jane watched as a massive energy beam from the Zoraxian flagship passed directly through the Vanguard without effect. Can we communicate with the alien fleet? Yes, but our transmission will appear unusual to them, Greg replied. Open all channels. The main screen activated, showing the Zoraxian commander's command center. The aliens were moving frantically, mandibles clicking in what humans had learned was their expression of fear. This is Captain Mercer. As you can see, your weapons are ineffective against our vessel. On screen, the Zoraxian commander stared in disbelief. To him, the human captain appeared to be in multiple locations simultaneously, her image shifting and phasing. What abomination have you created? He demanded. Not an abomination. Evolution, Jane replied. Humanity has accessed the seventh dimension. Something your scientists claimed was impossible. Patricia's console suddenly flashed warnings. Captain, the dimensional field is expanding beyond the ship. I can't contain it. Energy poured from the Vanguard in visible waves, washing over the nearest alien vessels. As each wave passed through them, the ships momentarily phased partly out of normal space, their hulls becoming transparent before solidifying again. The seventh dimension is bleeding into normal space around us, Patricia explained urgently. The barrier between dimensions has thinned more than we anticipated. Can you stabilize it? Jane asked. I'm trying, but the energy levels are beyond our calculations. It's like the ship wants to keep drawing more power. On the view screen, the Zoraxian commander watched in horror as parts of his own vessel began to phase in and out of reality. What are you doing to our ships? Demonstrating what happens when you threaten Earth, Jane replied. We don't wish to destroy your fleet, but we will if necessary. She nodded to Patricia. Show them what the Vanguard can really do. Patricia redirected the dimensional field, focusing it on an uninhabited region of space between the fleets. The effect was immediate and spectacular. Space itself folded, creating a visible distortion that expanded and contracted like a living thing. Stars beyond it shifted position as light bent around the phenomenon. That could have been directed at your fleet, Jane told the Zoraxian commander. The seventh dimension allows us to manipulate space-time itself. The alien's compound eyes reflected the impossible sight before him. For the first time in recorded history, the Zoraxian fleet began to retreat, pulling back from Earth's defenders. This is not over, the commander hissed before cutting communication. As the coalition ships withdrew, Greg turned to Jane with a mixture of awe and concern. Captain, what exactly have we unleashed? The Vanguard returned to Earth orbit as a hero, but the atmosphere in the United Nations Emergency Council was tense. Representatives from every nation watched footage of the ship's dimensional transformation and the retreat of the alien coalition. The question before us is clear, said the Secretary General. Do we use the Vanguard as an offensive weapon to end this threat permanently, or do we seek diplomatic resolution now that we've demonstrated our capability? Commander Rogers stood beside Captain Mercer at the podium. The coalition fleet has retreated to the edge of our solar system, but hasn't left entirely. They're regrouping and likely communicating with their homeworlds. Can they develop countermeasures against our technology? asked the Chinese representative. Dr. Ellis shook her head. Not quickly. They've been working with 5-dimensional physics for millennia. Adapting to 7th-dimensional reality would require them to rebuild their entire scientific foundation. The debate raged for hours. Some nations pushed for an immediate strike against the coalition homeworlds. Others advocated caution, warning that such action might unite the entire galactic consortium against Earth. On the Vanguard, Patricia worked frantically to stabilize the dimensional drive. The ship had begun experiencing unpredictable energy surges even at rest. It's like the ship has developed a connection to the 7th dimension that I can't fully control, she explained to Greg as they monitored the engineering systems. Each time we activate the drive, that connection grows stronger. Is it dangerous? Greg asked, watching energy patterns flow across his console. I don't know. We're in uncharted territory. Their conversation was interrupted when Jane entered the engineering section. The Council has made its decision. We're launching a limited operation against the coalition leadership. The homeworlds. Patricia asked, her face showing concern. No, we're heading to consortium headquarters. Intelligence reports the coalition leaders have gathered there to discuss the human threat. Our mission is demonstration, not destruction. 3 hours later, the Vanguard prepared to depart. Dr. Ellis joined the crew as scientific advisor for the mission. Be careful with the drive, she warned Patricia. My latest calculations suggest the 7th dimension isn't just an energy source. It might have its own form of awareness. Patricia looked alarmed. You're saying it's alive? Not exactly, but it responds to our presence in ways that suggest more than random energy patterns. The Vanguard activated its conventional engines and left Earth orbit. Once clear of the moon, Jane gave the order. Engage dimensional drive. Take us to the consortium headquarters. Patricia activated the system. This time, the transition felt different. The ship phased into the 7th dimension more smoothly, as if it remembered the way. Transit will take approximately 12 minutes, Greg reported. That's 1/20th the time of conventional travel. As they traveled, Dr. Ellis studied the sensor readings with growing fascination. We're not just moving through normal space. We're taking shortcuts through dimensional folds. The view screen showed spectacular visions, stars stretched into impossible shapes, galaxies seen from perspectives that shouldn't exist, and occasionally, patterns of energy that moved with purpose through the higher dimension. There's something out there, Greg whispered. Something watching us. When the Vanguard arrived at the massive consortium headquarters station, it emerged from dimensional space directly in front of the main docking ring. The effect was immediate. Alarm signals flashed across the station, and security vessels scrambled to respond. Open a channel to the consortium grand chamber, Jane ordered. The main screen activated to show a circular room filled with representatives from dozens of species. The coalition leaders sat together at one table, still in discussion. This is Captain Jane Mercer of Earth Vessel Vanguard. We have come to address the false accusations against humanity and the unprovoked aggression against our planet. A Veldari elder rose from the center table. Your presence here is impossible. Our sensors gave no warning of your approach. That's because we didn't approach through normal space, Jane replied. Consider this demonstration proof of what I'm about to say. The coalition attacked Earth out of fear, not justice. They fear what we've discovered, truths about our universe that challenge their scientific dominance. The Vanguard's hull began to glow with 7th-dimensional energy, rippling with power that the station's sensors struggled to measure. Every alien in the grand chamber stared in disbelief. We come with an offer of peace, Jane continued. But be warned, attack Earth again, and next time, we won't be so restrained in our response. The Galactic Consortium's Grand Chamber remained silent for several long moments after the Vanguard's demonstration. The ship had manipulated dimensional space around the station, temporarily causing sections of the massive structure to phase between realities, a gentle reminder of what Earth's technology could do if pushed. The vote is unanimous, the consortium chancellor finally announced, her forearms raised in the traditional gesture of concession. The coalition action against Earth was unsanctioned and will not be supported. A formal apology will be issued. 6 months later, humanity's position in galactic affairs had transformed completely. Earth's scientists worked alongside selected alien researchers in the newly established Dimensional Studies Institute orbiting Jupiter. The building itself, constructed partially in 7th-dimensional space, appeared impossible to conventional physics, sections visible and invisible simultaneously, existing in multiple states at once. Captain Jane Mercer stood at the observation deck, watching the Vanguard undergo modifications in the specialized dock. "The ship has stabilized," Patricia explained, joining her. "We finally understand why it was behaving strangely after our first jump." "It was adapting," Jane said. Patricia nodded. The 7th dimension was reshaping it, preparing it for something more. The latest scans show the hull now exists partially in 3 different dimensions simultaneously. Dr. Ellis approached with a delegation of alien scientists. Species that had once mocked humanity now eagerly collaborated with Earth's researchers. "We've confirmed the existence of an 8th dimension," Olivia announced, unable to hide her excitement. "And possibly a 9th beyond that. The Vanguard sensors detected energy patterns we couldn't identify until now." Greg joined them, carrying new navigation charts that showed dimensional currents rather than conventional space routes. "With these pathways mapped, we can reach any point in the galaxy in minutes rather than days." 3 Veldari scientists bowed respectfully before speaking. "Your species accomplished in decades what ours failed to discover in millennia," the eldest said. "Our mathematical framework was too rigid, too limited by our own evolutionary perspective." Commander Rogers arrived with news from Earth. "The UN has approved the expansion of our dimensional fleet. 5 new vessels under construction, with modified drives based on what we've learned from the Vanguard." "And the coalition leaders?" Jane asked. "The Zoraxian High Command has been restructured. Those who pushed for war against Earth have been removed from power. The new leadership is requesting technological exchange." That evening, as the Jupiter facility rotated to catch the distant sunlight, Jane stood alone on the observation deck. The Vanguard gleamed below, its hull shifting with patterns that revealed its connection to higher dimensions. "Beautiful, isn't it?" said a voice behind her. Dr. Ellis joined her at the window. "I sometimes wonder if we've gone too far," Jane admitted. "The power we've unlocked, it changes everything." Olivia nodded thoughtfully. "With every great discovery comes responsibility. The 7th dimension gave us the power to defend ourselves. But what happens when we reach the 10th, or beyond?" "The aliens aren't laughing anymore," Jane observed. "Now they fear us." "Fear can be as dangerous as mockery," Olivia replied. "Our goal should be respect, not fear." A small ship approached the station, a Zoraxian diplomatic vessel. The species that had once led the coalition against Earth now came seeking partnership. "Do you think we'll ever fully understand what we've discovered?" Jane asked. "I doubt it," Olivia smiled. "That's what makes it exciting. The 7th dimension appears to have its own laws, possibly its own form of intelligence. Each barrier we break reveals new questions." As they watched, the Vanguard's hull briefly pulsed with energy, responding to something unseen. The ship had become more than a vessel. It was a bridge between realities, a pioneer at the edge of understanding. "What's next for you, Captain?" Olivia asked. Jane's eyes reflected the dimensional energies flowing across the Vanguard's surface. "The preliminary scans from our last mission detected something at the edge of charted space, a distortion that might be a gateway to the 10th dimension. Another expedition. Someone has to see what's on the other side," Jane replied. "The galaxy stopped laughing at us when they saw what humanity could do. Now let's show them what we can discover." Below them, the Vanguard pulsed again, as if eager for its next journey into the unknown depths of reality.